Good morning, Vietnam.
Do you like balloons? Balloons!
Fans for the fans. A joke.
Balloons!
Fans for the fans. Get your fans here. Good morning.
Evening. Good Thursday.
Yeah, good Thursday.
So we were supposed to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So far, we've done Tuesday, Thursday.
I had a feeling this was going to happen.
We are PodBros, a production of Sound Bros Productions. And because we haven't had...
Wow. Because we haven't had... Yep, yeah. Because we haven't had that.
It snuck up on me.
What are we doing since we haven't had...
Since we haven't had very much Sound Bros business, I had to go get a real job. And so now I don't have any time to do this, which is scrappy. It's scrappy. Scrappy. Anyway, so yeah, here we are on Tuesday, the show.
It's not Tuesday, it's Thursday.
On Thursday, the show.
Gosh.
And the name of today's show is Thursday. It's not Tuesday.
Yes, that. We'll just go with that.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. We're here in the Quad City areas.
Did you actually upload? I mean, did you make it available? I uploaded it.
I did. You uploaded it. I passed out.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
You remember. I don't remember.
Yeah, I had to yell at you like 5 times for you to finally tell me how to upload it.
And I told you?
I finally got it out of you.
I was asleep.
I know you were asleep.
I was out.
It was really annoying.
Like, I don't remember you leaving the house.
No, I know, Luke.
I don't remember. I woke up at 3:30.
Okay.
In the morning. My feet were freezing cold. My legs were freezing cold because I keep my house at 65 degrees. And I was sitting on the chair. My leg from my knees down were just icicles.
Right. Nice.
And I got up and I turned off the computer and looked over at the door to this room, and the door was closed. And I was like, oh, where's Nick? And I stumbled around the house for about 5 minutes looking for you.
Nice.
Then realized you weren't here, crawled into bed, and fell asleep, only to wake up an hour later in a panic because I forgot to set my alarm for work. So then at 4 o'clock or 4:30, I set my alarm for work.
Nice.
And fell back asleep.
Solid.
Yeah, it was a fun night.
And
then the next morning, as I was getting ready to walk out the door, I was like, oh, shoot, I've got to upload to the internet so that I can put it up and I turned the computer on and I went to the website and it was already uploaded. And it was like, oh, gosh, Nick uploaded it. He must have asked me how to upload it.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay. Oops. So, yeah. Apparently, even when I'm asleep, I know what to do.
No, you don't.
You got it out of me.
After about 10 tries.
You still got it out of me. So I do know what to do. It just takes a bit.
This is kind of how the conversation went. Luke, I need to know how to upload this. Oh, I gotta upload that. I know, that's what I'm doing. Tell me how to upload it. Okay, you go on the website. You gotta go to Podbean. I know I'm on Podbean. Okay. Once you're on Podbean, you go over to the basket. What basket, Luke? No, you gotta go onto Podbean. It's the website that we upload on. Okay, I get it. What the heck are we doing?
The basket? What basket?
I don't know. I don't know what basket.
There's no basket.
There's no basket. I'm like, Luke, there's no basket. I'm over here getting frustrated, and I'm like, you know what? He's asleep. I really can't get mad at him for this. He's gone.
I don't remember.
I'm sitting there waiting for you to be like, you just got to turn off the computer and turn it back on, and then it'll work.
Have you tried turning it off and turning it on again? So I've been working 10 to 12-hour days every day, and they are kind of mentally grueling, mixed with a little bit of physically, just a lot of standing and reach work. Where you're like fully extended. Mm-hmm. And so for the first day on Monday, I spent about...
Which is extra extended for people like Luke.
For people like me, yeah. So normally you'd be reaching just slightly above your head, and you can do that with your arms bent. No, I'm at full extension.
On two-step ladders.
On two-step ladders,
And
so
a forklift.
Monday,
two forklifts.
I spent about 10 hours on a 6-foot ladder. And so my body was very upset at me, and I was very tired. And then Tuesday, I spent another 10 hours learning a program on security and cameras and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And stuff. And so that was very mentally grueling as well. And so I was very tired after that. And so then we did the show, and my body just shut down. My body actually shut down again this morning. I did the thing that I did last Friday, where I woke up in the morning and then passed out until noon because my body's trying to catch up. I did that again this morning and almost wasn't on time for work. So,
oh dang! When did you have to go into work today?
I had to be there at 10:30, and I got there at 10:45.
Nice.
So yeah, so that was fun. So yeah,
I drove past there today when I was doing the grueling job I was doing today.
What grueling job were you? Oh, you were
messing
with death.
It wasn't so much that it was physically challenging.
You were messing with death, though.
It was just the worst.
Death.
So there's this thing for those of you maybe this is like a West Coast thing or something. I don't know.
I think it's actually an Arizona thing.
It might be an Arizona thing, but there's this plant that grows in Arizona. It's actually a bush, and it's called pyracantha. And it is the best anti-break-in defense bush that could be ever possibly owned. However, it is literally the worst bush to do any kind of maintenance to in the world. So the way it works is that the reason it's the best defense in the world is because it has these giant, like, two between 1 to 3 inch long thorns on it.
Spines.
They are like, and they're razor sharp, and they go right through clothes and leather and your skin.
Yep.
And they are gnarly, and it's like thick, heavy wood. So the reason is because those actually turn into branches. The prickers actually, after they get to a certain length and they start growing their own, it's actually how the bush grows. So it's this great defense because you can't crawl through it because you die.
Yeah.
I actually literally pulled out a dead mouse while I was taking care of it.
Really?
That had been skewered several times.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, he was done. Anyway, so it's great for defense, but it's terrible for doing any kind of maintenance too. It is literally the worst thing in the world to do maintenance with.
Because you can't get to it.
Because you can't do anything with it. You can't like bushes. You can manhandle bushes. It's just it's just branches. You can break the branches or whatever and just kind of bear hug the stuff, and it's no big deal. Even like a tree you can do that with. But you can't do that with this stuff. And so I'm like, I had like 2 rakes, and I had it pinched in between the 2 rakes, and I was kind of carrying it around. And then I had to get it into the truck, and the truck I was going to use broke down just recently because it's older. So I had to use my dad's new truck, which has a covered bed. So I had to try to get these to go into the bed of the truck under the covered hood without skewering myself. And then my mom had done some... So I didn't have to cut any of this, which was great. It was just whoever had cut it did a terrible, horrible job of it. So then my mom had done some rosebush trimming, and we have... So you think like rosebush, think a nice little rosebush. My mom has trellis roses. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Roses that are for putting on like a trellis.
Yep.
So they grow like really huge stalks. So she has trellis rose bushes in her front yard. and she trimmed them all. But she's getting older, and she can't
Right.
take care of the trimmings when she's done with them. So there's been this big pile of rosebush trimmings in the front of my parents' house for like months. And so I had to take care of that as well. And you can't do anything with those because they're covered with rosebush thorns. And rosebush thorns are like evil because if you get stabbed by a rosebush thorn, the tip breaks off in whatever clothing you're wearing.
Yeah.
And when you go to put the gloves back on later, you get stabbed again because of the rosebush tip.
Yeah, which is super fun.
Which is great. So it took me, and then to top it off, my mom wasn't really clear as to what. So we have an older tree, and there's a really old tree in the yard, and it's slowly been falling apart, and it lost a bunch of branches a couple months ago during a big storm, and so it's been sitting in front of my parents' shed. And so I thought that that's what they wanted me to take care of because it's like a big eyesore. And I'm like, okay, I'll come and take care of that. It's no big deal. So it took me about 2 or 3 hours into taking care of that stuff for my mom to finally say, well, I really need you to take care of the pyracantha and the rose bushes. And it was like, thanks. Great. Now that I have no time left because I have another job I have to do. So then I was rushing the whole time. It was terrible. It was horrible, terrible, horrible, horrible. So, but it's done now, and all I have to do is go back later and take care of the tree.
Indeed.
So, but the tree will be easy.
And you have a bunch more stuff to load up and get out of there because I saw a big pile.
That's what I mean. The tree.
Oh, that's
the
it.
Tree.
Okay.
I pulled it all out and
now it's and organized it.
Most of it.
Like.
I prepped most of it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
So now I can very easily get it into the truck because I have it all. I wasn't sure what we were going to do with it. That was the other thing is we weren't sure what we were going to do with it because the other truck was broken. So I was starting to prep everything into bundles.
Well, now that you're talking about working, Saturday we could have done that. However, on a little bit more of a somber note.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This Saturday there is, for those of you who are in the area, from the area, or know people in the area here in the Quad City area, there will be a memorial service for Coach Steve Moran, who was the coach at Bradshaw and a health teacher at Bradshaw when I was there. Actually was a good friend of mine.
And he was a coach at Prescott, too.
And he was a coach at Prescott. So he did a lot for the community in the coaching realm and
actually,
in that area.
I just found out, I was talking to a friend of mine who's lived in this area for a long time, and apparently he was a coach down in Wickenburg as well.
Really?
Yeah.
And so he
so
there's a lot of people that he met a lot too.
He definitely
he impacted us.
Yeah, for
I mean,
sure.
no doubt.
I had him as a health teacher.
I had him as a health teacher.
I kind of wish I had him as a coach because my coach is.
I've heard amazing stories about him as a coach. He was a bit of a firebrand.
He also was the only coach at Bradshaw to ever walk away with a championship.
That is true.
So
there's something to be said.
There's something to be said about that.
But no, he was a good guy. Probably one of my favorite teachers in school.
He was definitely one of my favorite teachers.
Without question, one of the most. In the realm of you have a health teacher, right? You have math teachers and English teachers and all these things. And health is the one class that's a half a year long or whatever. And,
there's a couple of them like that, but yeah.
And you see this one teacher in the 4-year span. He remembered who I was. Every time I saw him outside of the school.
Yeah, that is true.
For the last, I've been out of school since 2002. So almost 20 years.
Dang. You're old.
Every time I saw Coach Moran, I would say, "Hey, Coach," and he'd go, "Hey, Luke, how you doing?" Every time, and ask me how I was, and we would chat and catch up, and he was an into it guy who cared about you as a person, and so they're doing a memorial for him. It's going to be at the Potter's House Church. Over on 5195 Highway 89.
Right there on the corner of 89.
And it starts at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, so they're having a private service in the morning. It's a long story, but the family has made they were the family and Coach Moran they were somewhat of friends with some people from the Potter's house. And when all this happened, the wife, Coach Moran's wife, asked the head pastor if they could use the church, and they graciously agreed. Actually, and it's actually kind of amazing. They're putting the whole day. The church does a lot of outreaches and a lot of different stuff, and they're pretty much putting the whole day on hold for this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the memorial service starts at 1 then.
At 1, yeah.
And PodBros will be there, both of us.
Yeah.
And we'd love to see you come out and give your support to the family and yeah. So yeah.
Yep.
Wow, I got really somber on that. My apologies.
No, it's all good. It's worthy. He made a big impact.
He did. He made a huge big impact. You never think. I had nothing but a lot of bad experiences in my schooling, and,
especially in high school.
Especially in high school, and so having a teacher that made a good impact for me was a kind of a novelty. And so that was Moran, and there was a couple other ones. There's a couple of college professors that I've had that are, they hold a very special heart for me. Anyway, so that's Coach Moran, and that's that would be my little eulogy for him.
Nice.
I would say.
Nice.
So on a lighter note, how's the weather look?
Oh, the weather, gosh.
And while you're looking up the weather, I'm going to pull a total news anchor moment here, and do a complete switch from something somber to something ridiculously light. But first, there's more. So if advertising was truthful, so Taco Bell also open when you're sober.
Ha!
McDonald's, because you only have $4. Starbucks, we serve you decaf if you're rude.
That's funny.
Altoids, used for anything but holding mints. Lay's, flavored air. Girl Scout cookies, guilt trip cookies. Klondike, all you have to do for a Klondike bar is go out and buy one. Burger King, have it your way. Eat somewhere else. Hamburger Helper, 'cause mom's tired. Surge, sweet, caffeinated nostalgia.
Wait, what was that one?
Surge.
I don't know what that is.
You don't remember Surge?
I don't.
Mountain Dew, the sports drink for gamers.
Yeah, I know that one.
Tic Tac, feel like a pill popper. Activia, helps you poop. Tyson, almost food. Kraft mac and cheese, this tab will not open the box. Waffle House, it's 2 a.m. and you're drunk. What are you laughing at? Do you have something funny?
So normally when I see a headline like this one.
Okay, well, I'm almost finished. So
Go ahead.
Fruit Stripe, tastes good for 3 seconds. Bugles, edible finger swords.
Nice.
Hot Pockets, every bite is a different temperature.
That's true. That's so true.
Ben and Jerry's, eat away your feelings.
Indeed.
Okay, go ahead.
Also Haagen-Dazs.
Also Haagen-Dazs. More Haagen-Dazs than Ben and Jerry's.
That's
I
true.
think.
So when I see a headline like this, I'm very skeptical.
Okay.
Racist runway show. Mostly.
Wait, what are we talking about runway here?
So like a fashion show.
Like a fashion show.
Right.
Okay.
So
all right.
clearly, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I need some context here because in the past it's been like, oh, they were so racist with this, and it's like, it's a hot chick wearing a Native American feather headdress.
Yeah.
Give me a freaking break. That's not racist.
Yeah.
If anything, that's attractive and hot. However, that is racist.
Oh, dear goodness. Why? What in the world? Is that a dude?
No, it's a chick.
That's a woman? What did they do to her lips?
She's got big lips and big ears. Can you see the big ears?
No, I can't.
See the big ears?
She looks like Mickey Mouse.
Can you see the big ears now?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
What? I don't understand. What is the point?
She's also got giant eyebrows. The only thing she's missing is a giant nose.
That's what she looks like. My brain just turned on. It's Mrs. Potato Head.
That's funny. I'm trying to figure out what the heck they were going for here. But she clearly looks like the only thing that's missing is a big nose and blackface.
And blackface. Okay, yeah.
Because,
that's what I was thinking.
Because good Lord. Oh my gosh. What is okay, what could possibly be going through your head? Never mind, they're fashion models. I know exactly what's going through their head. Nothing.
I'm starving. That's what they're going.
Yeah, I'm starving.
I'm starving.
Seriously. So the weather. It is currently 46 degrees right now. It's actually
Awesome.
Really nice. You notice that?
It has been absolutely gorgeous outside, which is why my face is dying with allergies because the change of the season.
Because the spring has sprung?
Yep.
Well, good news. Because tomorrow night it's supposed to start raining.
And then it's supposed to snow.
And then it's supposed to snow on Saturday night. 100% chance of rain tomorrow, actually, or on Saturday.
100% of
It says 100% chance of rain
on Saturday.
and 100% chance of snow on Saturday night. And then it's clear and sunny. My guess, though, based on these temperatures, is that it probably won't stick.
Yeah.
It's going to be another thunder snow.
Ooh.
They're predicting some thunder may also be possible. It's these, you know what it is? It's the increased heat that's coming from this. This year is a particularly intense El Nino.
Yeah.
Bigger than most years. That's why Australia's on fire. A lot of those islands that are down there in the South Pacific, a lot of them are having all sorts of issues. I wouldn't be surprised at all if you saw some major monsoon, hurricanes or typhoons, right?
Yeah.
So they're called typhoons or cyclones or whatever. But yeah, that's what's happening right now. Is it's an intense El Nino year, and so you have a ton of snow, and it's very energetic because it has to be, especially with snow, because it's so cold. It has to be extremely energetic for there to be thunder, lightning.
Right.
So, and if you ever want to know what I'm talking about, look up on YouTube lightning snow or thunder snow.
Thunder snow.
Thunder snow. There is. Hopefully, you find the guy. There's
this February.
Have you ever seen, you know what video I'm talking about, right? You know what video I'm talking about?
Thunder snow.
The forecaster who gets all crazy excited about the thunder snow.
I don't think I've seen him.
And then they did a showmo or whatever. The
slow mo.
No, the one where they songify it.
Oh,
they songified it, and it was even funnier. I'll show it to you after we're done.
Indeed.
But so I actually got to experience my first thunder snow. I mentioned that the other day. On my way home. So while we're talking about fires,
fire.
I've been following this locust thing in Africa.
Fire. The what?
The locust thing in Africa?
No.
It's flipping crazy.
What is happening?
So, There are so many locusts. There is...
Okay, I have a new segment for our show.
Okay.
It's going to be the movie voice guy, a trailer for the current news or weather
nice.
or
Okay.
something like that.
So
we'll start doing that, and we'll actually do a...
So I'll explain it.
We'll
and then
actually
you can
explain
movie
it, and
voice
then we'll movie voice it. But it won't be off the fly. We'll actually write it out and have
Or
it
off the
recorded.
locust.
Or off the locust. So like this January, or no, wait, what are we in, February? We're in February. It's February. Coming to a city near you. Are you afraid of a little thunder? Maybe some lightning? Coming this February 24th. Thunder snow.
It's the 22nd, actually.
Beyond
That would be Saturday.
Mingus Mountain.
No, that wasn't very good. They were going to do the locust thing.
I don't know what the locust is.
So anyway, there is an unusually large amount of locusts
in Africa,
to the
they're
point-
eating all of the fruit.
to the point where there are swarms of locusts that are bigger than cities.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and they fly around and land on stuff. There's so many of them that they can strip an entire farm clean in 3 minutes.
I'm pretty sure that's plague level.
Yeah,
Or,
it's definitely plague level.
Yeah.
So, if you don't think that's bad enough, they've migrated out of Africa into Asia. And they've just reached China.
Which means that they're going to catch the virus and spread it. Ding, 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 ding. So how do we kill them? Fire? Can you burn them?
Pesticides, everything. They've been trying everything. Nothing works. There's just so many of them. So, crazy story.
Bullets?
So along with, what are you going to... My guess is that fire would probably do it. But, so along with all of this stuff, so you know the Kung Flu, the coronavirus. So
That
predictions.
was predicted.
So there are predictions about. So there have been predictions about this stuff,
Right.
separate from, of course, the biblical predictions
You're right.
of wars and rumors of wars and
Pestilences. And...
pestilences and disease. So 40 years ago, 39 years ago, but in 1981, a guy wrote a book
2 years before I was born.
called The Eyes of Darkness, something like that.
Really?
And in the book, he talks about a virus that affects the respiratory system and the bronchial tubes. And it's called Wuhan 39 or something like that, or 41 or whatever. And the reason it's called that is because the chemical lab in Wuhan, China was the epicenter.
And now it's coming to pass.
Yeah. So then, also on top of that, there was a guy who predicted the locust outbreak in Africa.
Really?
Yeah, he's actually been predicting it for about 5 or 6 years now. He's been warning them that there's going to be, this year is going to be, this was last year, 2019, was going to be an unusually high locust season.
Why? What's the science behind it?
So in the case of the locusts, it has to do with their breeding patterns. So locusts grow in the ground.
Right.
They lay their eggs in the ground. And so I guess it happens to be, my guess is it has something to do with the El Nino, because the whole Earth is connected to each other. And so my guess is that a shift in the weather pattern
Right.
allows more eggs to hatch because there's probably less water.
It's warmer or something.
There's warmer, or maybe there's more water or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
Depending on, who knows the factors, but I know that there are factors involved to where they were able to predict it to within months of it happening.
Wow.
So they're comparing the coronavirus to the Spanish flu in 1910 or 1918 or whatever.
Okay. And
Which,
what was significant about that?
Thousands of people died.
Awesome.
It was a global epidemic. So they're comparing the coronavirus to the same thing, to where it'll be a global epidemic. we was just talking about this the other day. China has quarantined
Itself.
over, what was it? 50 million people? 70? I can't remember how much it is, but it was a crazy huge number of millions of people that have been specifically quarantined because of their fear of the coronavirus. Separate from them just in general being quarantined. They're not allowed to go out. They're not allowed to meet at all. So, kind of crazy.
That's ridiculous. So, are we at the bottom of the hour?
We are, actually.
Right on the bottom of the
45 seconds off, but yeah.
hour? Oh, that's not too bad.
This is PodBros.
We are PodBros.
A production of Sound Bros Predictions. So,
Dun, dun, dun.
on a slightly lighter note, my very good friend
Crash.
Ralph Blanco
Blanco.
showed me a picture this morning of the first effects of the coronavirus in Mexico. And it was a picture of a Mexican passed out in the middle of a bunch of kegs of Corona. It was terrible and hilarious.
And hysterical. That's really funny.
So.
And shebang.
Commercial. Nice. All right, so we're halfway through. We got to talk about something else for another half an hour.
Should we do puns again?
No.
Oh.
We should actually put in some effort here.
Oh, effort.
Puns are like a cheap cop out.
They really are. And it's wonderful. I love it.
I mean, it is wonderful, but, you know.
Well,
Well,
I'm trying to think of something to talk about that's not, racially charged.
my feet hurt really bad.
My feet are killing me right now.
My feet have actually hurt since our trip to New York. To New
Really?
Jersey. Yep.
Oh, because all the walking we did?
No, I think it was the stairs, actually. I think I might have damaged something in my feet.
What stairs?
All of the stairs in New York?
What stairs?
Thank you.
Everything is stairs in New York, by the way.
Literally everything is
It's
stairs.
very annoying. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I
But
feel like
doesn't-
you're in a Catholic church.
Up, down, up, down,
Up,
up,
down,
down.
up, down, up, down,
Lay
up,
down.
down, lay down,
Get
stand
up.
up,
Sit down.
roll over,
Roll
play
over.
dead,
Squat.
squat.
Stand. Up, downs. Up, downs. Beep, beep, beep. All right. Go get some water. Good work, everyone. Go get some
Can
water.
I drink this? No, just splash it on your forehead, your chest,
Oh, come
and
on.
each shoulder.
This is terribly
We're
hilarious.
horrible. We're so bad right now.
Wait, is that all this is? Is this why Catholic people are so fit?
Because of their church service is a workout.
Hey,
Went to mass, lost 45 pounds. All right.
I'm on the Catholic diet. I used to be Mormon. Then I switched to Catholic. I lost 45 pounds. Then I switched back to Mormon.
That was just
because
45
of the
pounds. That
polygamy
was just
thing.
one of your wives.
That's brutal, man. Speaking of which, did you see
Wait,
what just...
speaking of which, how is this a segue?
This is totally a segue, and I was
How?
hoping that you would go there, and
How
you did.
is this a segue?
So, in Utah, the Utah State Senate just unanimously passed decriminalization of polygamy.
Well, apparently I'm moving to Utah.
Instead of it being a Class 3 felony,
It
it is now a $750 fine.
one time?
I guess.
Wow.
Only if both adult parties are consenting.
So the husband and the first wife have to consent to the second wife.
And the second wife has to consent as well. And if they're underage,
Yeah.
it's still a Class 3 felony.
Wait, what? If they're underage?
Yeah,
Oh, that's right. I forgot that was a thing.
that's the thing the Mormons do.
I forgot that was a thing.
You know. It's difficult to keep up because you have the Mormon church and then you have the fundamentalists who still believe in polygamy. And then you still have some regular Mormons that believe in polygamy.
And then you
too.
have the Mormons that are like, no, polygamy was never part of it. And you're like, I don't know what history you're reading, but I know more of your history than you do, apparently.
And then you're like, Don't you know why they called him Brigham Young? Because he liked you to bring him young. Bring him often?
Bring him young, bring him often.
Anyway.
Oh, that's horrible.
It's terrible.
We've gone really far on this.
Yep. Well, I mean, we're making fun of religions now, so we
religions,
might as well just
so-
keep going.
Well, we've hit Catholic, we've hit Mormons. Jesus only? That's all we need to say. Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yeah.
Do you want some cookies?
Yeah.
We have Jemima's Witnesses.
Jemima's Witnesses.
You guys want some pancakes?
You guys want some flapjacks? We're from the Church of Aunt Jemima.
And Jemima.
I actually support you guys regularly.
I
Come
do.
on in.
Actually, I haven't had pancakes in a while. We could make pancakes.
We
You want
could
to make some
We
pancakes?
could make some pancakes.
You have to get up early.
I do have to get up early. But anyway.
We might have to cut this show short so that you can go.
I thought they were called the Jehovah Witnesses.
Jehovah Witnesses? Have you ever heard of being a homosexual?
No.
Did I talk about this already on
I
the
think
show?
so.
Dating someone with the express purpose of having a place to live?
Yes. Oh, that's funny.
It's still good, though.
It is
every
good.
time.
All right. We gotta
If
talk
there
about...
are any I have to say this. I have to
Okay.
say this. If there are any homosexual women out there, I have an open house.
Wow.
Was that too desperate? Did I come off too desperate?
You still have to pay him rent, though.
Yeah, you have to pay rent. Yeah.
So in that case,
and we're not dating.
in that case, it'd be more like a Bardot.
Boudoir. Jeez. Oh no! No! That brings up a point.
Oh,
That brings up
another
a point.
segue.
Another segue. Yeah, California just introduced a bill
Oh, okay.
to require porn stars, cam girls, prostitutes. Oh, where is it? They're required now to get a license, a specific license, to ply their trade.
To ply, strong air quotes, their trade.
Ply their trade. And be part of a they have to go through a 2-hour training.
How do you train for that? All I can think of right now is Firefly. That's literally all I can think of right now.
I know, right? Hang on.
Hanging on.
I'm trying to find it. Here it is. Okay. California bill. I'll read it. I'll just read it.
Okay, go.
This is off of reason.com, and it was posted on the 20th of February 2020. So 2/20/2020. Nice. Anyway, California bill would
It's
require
11:20 right now also. Sorry.
occupational licenses for porn actors, strippers, and cam girls. Adult performers are outraged at the proposed licensing requirements
Outraged.
and have vowed to fight the bill. In a very California story, inter-union drama appears to be marring the introduction of a bill that would require porn stars to get business licenses. On Tuesday, Lorena Gonzalez, Democrat from San Diego, and Cristina Garcia, Democrat from Bell Gardens, introduced Assembly Bill 2389. The bill would require adult entertainers, video performers, including webcam performers, to obtain a business license and complete a state mandated training course before being allowed to ply their trade. Requirements for the training would be developed by the state's Department of Industrial Relations.
Industrial relations.
Which would in turn be advised by a new 10-member governor-appointed board composed of 2 adult film actors, 3 dancers, 2 medical doctors, a therapist, and a money manager. This
Wow.
training would be a minimum of
For
2 hours.
The last one, by the way, the other term for that is pimp.
Pimp, yeah.
Continue.
The training would be a
Money
minimum,
manager. I'm a money manager.
The training would be a minimum of 2 hours and will provide information on reporting workplace injuries, sexual harassment, and sex trafficking. Adult performers would be required to cover the cost of this training. they have to pay for the training. The bill would also require that they be fingerprinted. This bill was, according to staff members for Garcia's office, first proposed by the International Entertainment Adult Union, a union representing strippers, adult actors, and adult film crews, much to the chagrin of some of its chapters. I love the writing in this so far. Ply your trade. Do you ply your trade?
Well, you know why they're writing it this way.
What?
Because if you wrote it any other way, it would sound exactly like what it is.
Which is what we're doing. Anyway. So they raised a number of concerns, including that it would, by only making licenses provisions for those 21 and older, bar sex workers under 21 from the industry. They also expressed concern that the bill could force some performers to submit to licensing inspections at their homes if that's also their primary place of business. Anyway, so that's
primary
the idea.
Place of business.
Well, they are regulated by the Industrial Commission.
Industrial Commission.
I just think it's funny. The industrial stuff.
Money manager.
Money manager.
What do you do for a living? I'm a money manager.
Okay, so here's a better story.
No, you can't just read the story and then move on.
Oh no, we're moving on.
No,
It's over. It's
no.
done.
We have to
It's
talk
done.
about this.
It's done.
We need to talk about this.
Shaquille O'Neal shoes.
No.
Sell at Walmart.
No. We have to talk about this. So here's the problem with that.
I don't wanna.
The problem is that the porn industry isn't based in California. It's based in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Is it really?
That's where most of the porn industry is based in.
I didn't know that.
I mean, there is a good portion of it based in California, which is probably why they're pushing for a bill like that in California.
Well, they're the ones who.
How do you regulate a bill like that?
You have to watch something.
Do you have a bunch of horny teenagers? All right, this is your job. You got to make sure that they're regulated. Excuse me, sir. Gosh, can you put your pants back on? I'm sorry. I was watching this, and she doesn't have a license. So, okay, we need to put some curtains in here for these guys. Sorry, all I can think of is I feel bad for the NSA agent who looks at my internet history.
What looks at your what?
My internet history.
Internet history.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. These are all the things that are going through my head.
Yeah.
Besides, separate from that, the libertarian in me is like, so these people that are starting their own business, the cam girls, right?
Strong air quotes.
You're going to force them to get a license to do their business. So the government is, you're going to require the government.
Wait, does this make the government the pimp?
Just like it makes the government the drug dealer?
Oh, snap.
Which would make
Which is why the government...
Which would make California a drug dealer and a pimp. Which would fit.
Drug dealing pimp.
Which would fit.
Yeah.
Most of their, politicians.
So...
Continue.
Let's
all right,
jump,
I'm good. I got that out of my system.
Can we jump stories?
I got that out of my system.
Jumping
Go ahead,
stories.
Continue.
There is a principal who put a flag ban at his school.
Nice.
And the students arrived in a caravan.
Excellent.
With their American flags.
Justice.
This is they're doing a lot of talkie in the story.
Nice. Of course they are, because it's a very simple issue of violation of the First Amendment.
In Franklin County, we have some upstanding young
Franklin
Americans.
County where?
Virginia.
Wow. Yep, that sounds about right. Virginia is the battleground state right now.
Right now, yep. Anyway, according to the Virginia-based cable channel BTW21, a mother of one of the students at Franklin County High School said it began when her son realized he was getting into with her son realizing he was getting in trouble. My son called me from school saying that he saw an administrator around his truck and is now being called into the office. The woman said her son and two of his friends were told they could no longer fly American flags on their vehicles because it was, quote, offensive and, quote, disruptive. This was Monday of last week. On Tuesday, this is what happened. and it is a picture of no less than 7 trucks, all of them with the American flag on their bumpers.
Excellent.
This is what we can gather. A convoy showing that kind of support that Old Glory got in just 24 hours. If they thought they had offensive and disruptive before, they've got a lot more of it in just 24 hours. And it's a great video. So they're playing the Star Spangled Banner. So they it doesn't say whether or not they got away with it or not, or what happened.
Nice. That's cool. That's a cool story. I mean, it's a terrible story, but it's a cool story.
Oh, here's the answer. He has apologized to the boys and told them that it is not against the rules to fly their flag on their truck. Apparently, it was a big misunderstanding that should have never gotten this far.
Big misunderstanding.
Oh, yes. Let's
a big misunderstanding.
Yes, let's backpedal. Right?
Your flag is offensive and disruptive. How is that a big misunderstanding? That's something I've never understood. That was something I had an issue with when I went to school, because some of the things that they banned from us wearing, they had like this whole list of things we weren't allowed to wear. And one of the things we weren't allowed to wear was stuff with the old English graphic.
Yep.
What is that? The font, Old English font?
Yeah.
So what happens if someone wears a picture of the Constitution on their shirt?
Yeah, it's got the Old English font on it.
Yeah, so my favorite part about that is that the senior sweatshirt that year,
yeah,
had everything was in Old English font.
Awesome.
It was hysterical.
So, how do you feel about bullying?
This is a complicated question.
I know.
Or it's a complicated answer, I should say, because bullying in the very traditional sense of bullying, I actually think is a necessity of school.
Okay.
And I think it's a necessity of school because in the real world, there are people who are bullies. And who are going to take advantage of someone else, who are going to cause either emotional or physical pain to someone. And as individuals in a society like ours, we must learn to rise up and fight against oppression.
How about over the top ridiculous bullying?
So let me finish before you ask your next question. What I don't agree with is someone saying that you making a statement about, someone's sexual orientation.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's
not bullying.
We're
talking about real bullying.
I'm talking about legitimate, like, give me your lunch money.
Okay, let me clarify. Go ahead.
Clarify.
What we're talking about is we are talking about pre-PC, non-snowflake, actual bullying.
Right. That's what we're talking.
Okay, that's what we're talking about.
That's what I was trying to clarify.
PC, snowflake, everything hurts my feelings. That's not bullying. Grow up, grow a pair, and deal with it. But what I'm talking about is bullying somebody for the sake of bullying someone because you're petty and small, i.e., picking on someone who has a disability.
Yeah, like I said,
that's actual bullying.
It's unfortunately, and I know that this is not a very popular view, but it's a necessity.
It is.
It's a necessity in that it needs to facilitate,
and that person being bullied needs to fight back.
Well, and if they can't fight back,
then others need to fight back for them.
The problem is, this is the issue. Since we've opened this can of worms, we're going to go there.
Indeed.
The issue is that now we live in a PC snowflake generation. And so you have someone who's bullying,
right?
Probably most likely verbally, not physically at all. It's just verbal bullying. But no one can rise up.
Well, you're not allowed.
And stop that person. Yeah, no, they're not. They're not allowed to.
That started, the not allowed started when I was in school.
Yeah, we weren't.
And I remember when Dad went to school, and I remember him ripping into my principal because I was being bullied, and I fought back. And I got in trouble.
As is your right. As a matter of fact, when I worked at Walmart,
and it changed me.
They had to tell us over and over and over again. Under federal law, you have the right to defend yourself.
Yes. However, if you do, you'll be fired from Walmart.
No, not at all. Absolutely not.
Really?
No, absolutely not. They tell you it's an active shooter situation is what they call it.
Oh, okay.
And you have to use the acronym ADD, avoid, deny, defend.
Got it.
So if you can avoid the person,
Great.
that's great. If you can deny the person, so like lock yourself into a room where they can't get to you, that's great as well. If neither of those options are available, you absolutely have the right to defend yourself, and you need to defend yourself.
Avoid, deny, defend. I like that.
Yeah, it was developed by
like that.
a school in Texas.
Okay, so now that we've discussed this and we've gotten to where we stand, let me tell you the story.
Go ahead.
So I don't know when the video went viral, but there was a video of a little boy that was 9 years old, and he's a dwarf. He's got dwarfism. Mm-hmm. So he's got the giant head and the tiny little body.
And the stumpy arms and everything.
And he's got that look on, look on, the dwarf face.
The dwarf face.
And he was getting bullied in school. And to the point where he got in his mom's car one day, and his mom videoed him, and this is what went viral, was the video, and it was of him crying and wishing to die.
Good Lord.
Because he had been bullied to that point.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to interject here, and let's be clear. What we are talking about is the fact that this poor little boy is to the point of wanting to commit suicide or be dead because he is being bullied is because he cannot fight back. Because if he does, he gets in trouble. And he should have every right to take those bullies and pound them into the dirt, but he can't. So his only recourse is to get into his mom's car at the end of the day, completely destroyed, and want to die.
And his friends should be allowed to defend him as well.
And his friends should. So this is what has happened to this little boy. Brad Williams, the famous dwarf comedian, caught wind of it, of course, because it went viral. And he raised over $25,000 for that little boy, and they're sending him to Disneyland.
Cool.
So his name is Quaden. So he set up a GoFundMe to send Quaden and his mom to Disneyland. All expenses paid, with a goal of $10,000 was the original goal. He brought in over $25,000, and the last I read, actually, it was somewhere in the neighborhood of like $30,000. So they're going to bless this little kid,
right? Okay,
which is awesome. But once again, this brings it back down to the issue of, and I haven't actually seen the video, but I can tell you just by the picture of this boy's face, I want to get my hands on his bullies, and I want to deal with them.
That is the issue here. Is that.
That's his face on the right hand side.
I can see it.
Yeah.
No, this is the issue. Is that the response should be an aggressive response.
It should.
And I think this plays into the issue of this whole.
Were you bullied? Were you bullied in school?
No.
Why not?
Why not? 2 reasons. I was bigger than everyone, and I was friends with everyone.
Okay. Were you bullied anywhere else?
Maybe once or twice.
You were bullied at home, though, at one point.
Yeah, but that's different.
Okay, but let's assume for a moment.
And let's be clear that as soon as I had the ability to fight back,
Thank you. That's where I was going. So, from a certain family member, there was a constant pick on.
Oh, yeah, for
right?
sure.
And when did that stop?
After I almost ripped his neck open, and then I backed him into a wall later on.
Right. And why? Because you had had enough.
Because I'd had enough, and I was bigger than stronger than him.
So, I, being the oldest, and we've discussed this a little on the show, that I used to torture you guys when we were younger. For everyone listening, just so that we're all on the same page, so that I, just for my own conscience and because it is the truth, I love my brothers very, very much, but we're also guys, and we, and I was overboard. That being said, when I was younger, before Nick was ever around, before Vince was ever around, and before Isaac was ever around, I was constantly picked on. Always.
Nice.
I was always the smallest. Then my brother Isaac was born 4 years after I was. I was 4. And when I got into school, I was small, funny looking or whatever, had a fun name that everybody could pick on, and I was that kid that the kids picked on. I was not popular. I was not the fun guy. I was not any of that. Well, I mean, I don't know if I was or not, but I got picked on. And I can tell you that in my first grade, what changed was when the bully was done picking on me, he went and picked on another girl, a girl in the class, and I broke his nose because he picked on a girl.
Right.
And he became one of my good friends and stopped bullying people.
Right.
And every time that happened to me, you picked on me, pushed me to my limit, and then I would fight back, and they would stop being a bully.
Right.
That being said, I have people, and I'm not going to say any names for their protection's sake, of course, but I have people that I very much remember the times that I got jumped, right, in middle school.
Right.
And the times that I had to fight off and felt like I was fighting, quote unquote, for my life.
Right.
And when you fast forward, I got big. I'm short, but I'm big. I'm solid. And I learned to fight. And there was a time when I worked at a nightclub, and one of these gentlemen that I had had a fight with growing up came into the club and looked at me with a look of terror on his face. And when I asked him about it, he said, "You don't remember the last time we had an altercation?" And this was in middle school. And so, you know, this is years down the later from middle school.
Right.
And he regaled me with the story that I remember me being jumped by him and 8 of his friends.
Right.
And he tells the story as they were lucky they got away because I was crazy and
Right,
was
of
going to
course.
beat them all down or whatever. And I don't remember that because that's not how it played out for me.
Right. It's the
I
perspective.
was purely defending myself. But that guy is now I would say I would consider him a friend.
Right.
You know, and here we are down the road. And of course there's maturity and age that comes in, all that stuff. But what I'm saying is that we live in a current culture, and the ridiculousness of not allowing nature to play itself out. There are certain things that have to be done. When you are bullied, you have to fight back. When a woman, if you're a man and you're listening to my show and you don't understand what being a man is, if you see a woman being taken advantage of, you step in and you defend her. That's being a man.
It's called chivalry.
It's called chivalry. And we've gotten away from that in our culture, and we now have this whole thing of, oh well, you know, we're this, that, and the other,
toxic
masculinity, and it's garbage.
Yeah.
And toxic masculinity is why this poor little boy, it's wonderful that they raised that money for him and that they're going to send him to Disneyland, but it doesn't fix the fact that this poor little boy, there are people in the world that could give a rip and will pick on him all the way through his life.
Right. Of course.
And he doesn't know how to deal with it
Right.
because he's never been allowed.
True story.
So, this has been Dr. Luke.
Dr. Luke.
Just kidding. Anyway, I think that's the end of our show.
Well,
Or we're pretty close to it, at least.
mean, we're at the end, but I don't know. I guess I have a different perspective, at least on my personal perspective on bullying, because like I said, I never really got bullied in school. I never really got picked on in school.
Well, you were bigger.
But
You were much
But
bigger.
the other thing is that when I was little, our mom always used to tell us, "Nick, you're going to be the biggest."
She always did used to tell us that, and I don't know why she said that, because you weren't big when we were kids. You were kind of tiny.
But I'm the biggest, though.
You are the biggest, no doubt.
But what's funny is that all through my years in school, I always remembered that. I'm going to be the biggest. And so it didn't matter how big or small anyone else was, I'm the biggest. Doesn't matter if you're bigger and taller than me. I'm the biggest.
I'm the biggest.
And I know that that's not necessarily a good perspective for someone to have, because you, especially for a smaller person, you can end up with like a Napoleon complex.
Right.
Which Napoleon was actually not very short. He was actually 5'7". He just hung out with Jefferson every now and again, and Jefferson was 6'5", so he seemed a little short. Well, he wasn't 6'5".
Napoleon was 5'7"?
Yeah, he was.
I missed that in my study of him.
He was regular height.
He was Italian.
Yes, he was. He was actually almost average height, 5'7",
Wow.
5'6", something like that.
Interesting.
It's just that people like Jefferson were 6'2" or 6'3" or something like that, and then guys like George Washington was like 6'5".
Wow.
He was as tall as I think he could almost climb into his horse standing on the ground.
Who?
He was huge.
George Washington?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's paintings of him where he's almost standing abreast with the horse.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a big dude. Actually, a lot of the American signers were big people like that. And then of course you had guys like Adams that were short.
Yes. But firebrands.
Well, of course, they were Americans.
As we all should be.
But I guess that's just my perspective, and it's funny because I was talking to someone the other day who's a tall person, and I've always wanted to be 6 foot. I don't know why 6 feet is just like, it's the perfect height, I guess, in my brain.
I disagree, but continue.
But I'm 5'9", so I'm within 3 inches.
Shoes.
Yeah, right. Of course. No. So I was telling them that, and they're like, "Nick, you don't need any more height. You're intimidating enough as it is. I don't want to imagine what you would be like 3 inches taller." And it's like, it's funny because that just came into my head just a minute ago when you were talking about this, because it's like, I have that air, and you have that air too. Actually, most of us in the family have that.
I do.
That,
I do, but I'm shorter than everybody, and so
But it
it's
doesn't
kind
matter,
of
though.
But I will say that I have noticed that from people. So I do security in different places, and so I did security today actually at the AIA basketball, and I was the roamer. I walked around the building,
right.
which, by the way, 15,661 steps.
Sweet.
Today, which is a ridiculous amount. Also, keep in mind my steps are half the size of a normal step, because I have a 24-inch inseam. So
Nice.
I did double the work. All right. So
Continue.
so my 15,000 steps is actually more like 30,000 steps for a normal tall person. So,
Anyway, continue.
and I noticed that I get a mixed reaction. So I get the authority and the intimidation of just me,
Right.
and who I am, and I've got my gut, and I've got a little bit of fat. I got a lot of fat on me, and I'm kind of a chubby, but I have that authority. But I also get I feel authority from this guy, but wait, he's short, and so there's
Right.
I get a confused response a lot of times,
Well,
until I smile, and then they go, oh, okay, he's serious. But he can probably handle his own, and I don't want to get in a fight with this guy. is
And
usually
I've
what it
also
comes down
noticed something very interesting when both of us are together,
to. Okay,
is that there's an entirely different dynamic when both of us are together,
that is true.
because we're very similar to each other in appearance.
We are, and we also compliment back and forth on each other a lot.
Yeah, and when we're walking, and I've actually
Air wise, like
Yeah.
we yeah.
And I've also, someone was mentioning this to me the other day because they were hanging out with us, and they were like, when you guys walk together, it's like you are two parts of one person.
Oh, really?
And I guess I never thought about it, but we tend to cover each other's flanks.
Actually, now that you mention it, we did that without even thinking about it until we mentioned that we were doing it
Right.
in New York City.
And what's
Without even, and the police officer took a step back and walked the other direction.
yeah,
Did you notice that?
I did. Well, it's people aren't used to. I mean, they're especially in New York. They're not used to that sort of mindset.
Oh, and the fact that we didn't say a single word.
Yeah,
It was purely understood body language that just went.
yeah,
The other side of that too is that I've heard people talk about going to New York City and they're getting jostled around by people and whatnot. Did we get bumped into?
It was a wide berth.
We had a wide berth the entire time.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
very little of people getting even close to us.
Yeah.
And if they did, we're from Arizona. And in Arizona, you make eye contact with everyone.
Yep. And they would make eye contact and look down and walk away.
Yeah, they couldn't handle making eye contact.
Yep.
It's funny because here, you walk around, you make eye contact with someone, you're going to get a nod.
A smile.
If you're close enough, you're going to get a hey, how's it going?
Right. Yep.
It's just the nature of it.
Yep.
I guess it's the Wild West.
And inevitably a smile.
Yeah.
And when you don't get a smile, you're like, oh, what's wrong with them?
Or you get
Or
a serious.
are they okay?
No, you get a serious look and a nod, and it's like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
we're on the same page.
Yeah,
you know what's going on.
Well, we had a guy today, so I'm roaming around, and I was with the head of security, and then me, and then we had a guy jump over the railing
Nice.
into the bowl
Nice.
at the game because there was two teams, the Apaches and the Warriors and the Mustangs. The Mustangs had been winning the entire game by a good 20 points.
Okay.
And then in the last 5,
They lost
they
it.
came back, tied it, went into overtime, and lost.
Wow.
And of course, this is my personal view. When that happens in a basketball game or in any sports game, I don't believe it's so much the team rallying for a win, which I do believe is possible, but I believe that a lot of it is bad refereeing because they were calling stuff that was like, what are you doing? You're literally giving the other team the win here. Anyway, so the guy on the losing team was a little upset, jumped down and beelined for where the referees went outside.
Nice.
And so the head of security and I, of course, were on it. And so we're following him out, and he turned into the concourse, and he called, and the supervisor called his name, and finally he kind of glanced over his shoulder because he was ignoring him. So he glanced over his shoulder, and I saw his demeanor change because he saw the first guy, and the head of security he's a big guy,
Right.
Bigger, tall, intimidating-ish. With he's got a black beard or whatever, and then saw me and realized that the two of us were together and we were ready.
Beelining it for him.
We were beelining it for him, and he shifted, his demeanor changed. So he went back inside, he cooled down, and then I went and talked to him afterwards, and actually he apologized.
Nice.
for acting the way he was acting, but you are that's. It is how it goes when you have.
And we've even had
there is an authority there that you speak with it,
and we've even had here walking downtown.
Yep.
Where we've had people literally physically react like, I don't want any trouble, guys. It's like
we're just hanging out.
we're just walking, man.
I'm just walking down Whiskey
I
Row.
don't know
your
what's
problem?
wrong with you,
Right. Yeah.
but I'm not here trying to cause a problem.
So I used to be years and years and years ago. I used to be a bouncer. Right. I was a security at a nightclub. So I was downtown one night waiting for you to be done with whatever you were doing. So I decided I would hang out downtown.
Oh, that's right. You told
I
me the
don't
story.
go to bars. I don't drink. I don't do any of that anymore. But I was standing outside of Matt's. I am not dressed like a security
And
guard.
Matt's, okay, clarify.
Matt's is one of the main saloons on Whiskey Row.
So Whiskey Row, for those of you who don't know, the Prescott area, Montezuma Street.
Montezuma Street. There is a section of it called Whiskey Row.
Called Whiskey Row. It's between
And it is
it's between Gurley and Goodwin. And it's been called Whiskey Row for 150 years.
Yep, because it's been literally bar after bar after bar all the way down the road. There's somewhere in the neighborhood of like, I think now it's more, it's only like 6 bars maybe.
Yeah, a lot of it's
but at one
different
point
now,
it
but
was
yeah.
like 15. I
Yeah.
mean, it was a lot. So anyway, Matt's is one of the oldest standing cowboy saloons on
How old
Whiskey
is it?
Row. I think it's the oldest up there with the Palace.
So like 140.
So it's 100 and
years.
something years old. Yeah, it's been there for a while.
Yeah.
And so I'm standing there just talking to the bouncer at the front door. I'm just making conversation. We're just chatting and laughing, I am not dressed like security. I'm dressed like me, right?
You're dressed like security. But continue.
I'm not wearing the red
You're not
security
wearing
shirt.
their security
Strike
shirts.
that. Their security shirt. So anyway,
You are dressed like security dresses, though.
I was standing
Continue.
outside of Matt's for about 2 hours, and in that 2 hours, I had every single person that came up to the door to go into the bar hand me the license first. And the kid who's the bouncer standing at the door looks over at me and he goes, I would ask, he's like, I'm really enjoying this, but I don't know what to, like, and they would be like, hey, is it okay if I could do, if I do this, or like, can we go and come back? And they're asking me the questions.
Right.
They're not asking the bouncer the question. They're asking me the questions.
But they're all the same answers, though.
And I gave all the answers, and he's like, he just sat there and just enjoyed himself. It was hysterical. So
You got a
it was
2-hour show.
It was
and
a
he
lot
got
of
paid
fun.
for it.
And he got paid for it. Yep. So, but we have that, and we enjoy it. So, and on that note, for real.
Yeah, let's finish it off. Sorry, I didn't realize how late it was.
Well, I'm caring more about you here. I don't have to be up.
Oh no,
until
I
8
don't mind.
o'clock.
I wanted to give a little bit more.
Okay. So
Since the last one, we kind of went short.
we did,
And we've only done 2 this week. So
indeed.
I
And
figured
we're
we'd
probably not going to do one tomorrow.
give them an extra, 10, 15 minutes.
Indeed. So this has been PodBros
A production of Sound Bros.
of
Productions.
Sound Bros Productions LLC, and we actually do have our licensing and all that fun stuff. Yay!
So-
Spirit fingers.
Jazz hands.
I have to say it because you can't see it.
Jazz
so.
hands. Couscous. Skittles.
Couscous. Skittles.
Anyway, with that being said, thank you. With that being said, if you need to do any recording,
Yep.
if you want to come in and play your guitar and sing a song,
For the show.
no, I mean if you want to come into a studio. and
Oh,
do
if
it.
you want to do a
we have
studio,
our
time.
we
Yep.
have our makeshift studio set up. We have some discounted rates right now since
because it's the makeshift
it's the
studio.
makeshift studio. So
Drop us a DM and we'll
let us know.
get you in. We'll get you on the schedule
hook
and
you
get
up.
you in here. We hope you learned something today.
Because if you're not learning,
You're dying.
So,
So
stay
as we
alive.
stay in PodBros land,
as we say,
as we say, because we're plying our trade.
yes. But you have a license though to apply your trade.
do. I do.
Did you do your 2-hour survey with
Giggity.
the money manager?
With the money man, strong air quotes. My pimp. I'm going to start calling my banker my pimp.
my pimp. I work in the what was the industrial
Yeah,
commission.
Good Lord.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
we hope you learned something. If you're not learning something, you're dying. So stay alive.